But in 1971, which we're talking about, Denver was everywhere with Take Me Home Country Roads. And as his producer told me, Denver told his producer, you know, once you get a #1 hit, you want another, and then another, and then another. And so he's looking for a follow-up. And Denver is in New York recording at RCA, and he calls up Goodman. Goodman frequently was in New York for cancer treatment, so Denver said, can you come to town? I want to record your song. I really like your song, but I want to make a few changes. I want it to sound more like me. Now, what happened, I don't know that you would call a few changes. He changed old black men to old gray men. The side story was that apparently there was an African-American engineer at RCA who didn't like the old black man line. But that line is anything but critical. Anyway, it's more descriptive. He changed Good Morning America, I Love You. Good Morning America, how are you? Good Morning America, I Love You. He inserted a bridge, you know, the days are full of endless, and right. I mean, just the opposite of Goodman. Goodman was very specific and concrete. These images you could see, in Denver kind of this kind of a sheen of a lyric. And the worst part was he took out the last half of the last verse, totally wiping out the Disappearing Railroad Blues, which is really the bedrock metaphor for that song. Right. I mean, the song is very concrete. It's a train song, but it's also a metaphor for the ending of things and the beginning of things. And I mean, I would say that Denver turned it into City of New Orleans light.
Well, the worst thing, of course, is as Denver's management claimed half of the copyright.
Well, this was the thing that Goodman, I mean, put yourself in Goodman's position. He didn't know how long he was going to live. He had no idea whether Arlo's version was going to do anything. He didn't even know if Arlo was going to record it. Here you are, little Steve Goodman, nobody, and you have the guy who's had the #1 hit of the year going to record your song. He wants to make changes to it. He was terrifically torn. He didn't know what to do. And their friends whom I interviewed who were there, whom he was discussing with, he was just ripped in half about this. But he finally decided, he told himself 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing. And he said okay to John Denver. Well, the real shock was in January of '72 when the album comes out, the Irie album. Goodman flips it over to the other side and it says City of New Orleans by Steve Goodman and John Denver. I mean,